and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Welcome to Guardian Today. I'm your host, Ruben Ramming, filling in for Garth Maynard Roseborough. And I want to open up with a statement, a very serious statement, I think one that should cause us to influence all of our decisions as it relate to our Commonwealth, the way forward. We are already into what people call silly season, but I call it the most important season politically and governmentally, and we definitely know we are in the process leading to the celebration of Easter, which is the highest season of them all. But I want to say a statement, and you let me know how this registers to you. I think it could be applied to you as an individual, and definitely it applies to us as a country. That when your outgo exceeds your income, then your upkeep will become your downfall. Can I say that again to you one more time? As a country, if our outgo, the money we spend out and pass out and dish out, exceeds our income, the money we take in and we have, then our upkeep, our lifestyle, the way we live, the things we do, become our downfall. Because when we look at matters such as these, and we look at the headlines of late, and we look at all the issues that are impacting us in our lives, including the homes and the struggle that more and more persons are expressing that they're having in terms of making ends meet, and the decisions that have been made and are being made personally and also collectively and also politically, and the issues that we're having, we have to ask ourselves the question: Is the way the things are running right now in our country conducive to us having an upkeep, or will this now, if not properly corrected decisively, will lead to our downfall? We see matters arising in our papers that spoke clearly to unpaid bills and arrears as relate to the unpaid bills of our government, and it says that the arrears has increased. I've seen numbers up to 97%. That's almost 100%. The arrears has increased. I mean, right after we've been hearing in the most recent budget debate, the actual budget debate, that things are looking so peachy that we're expecting a surplus, and hearing over and over with officials saying that, oh, we're on target, oh, we're on track, oh, this is happening and that is happening. But yet when the books are open, we find out that it seems that any real hope or glimpse of real solvency and fluidity in cash is because we are reliving what I, from being a member of Parliament, had experienced directly in 2017, deja vu, that bills are being going unpaid, and in many instances because of the sleight of accounting hand in many instances, because, you know, there are ways in which accountants could actually handle funds and make things look the way they want them to look. That at the end of the day, that these things are not coming forward, so we don't get a clear picture as it relates to what's happening. And also how this impacts us, because I clearly remember being, when in 2017 and the new government came in, that it was expressed that in the first cabinet meeting, the first thing happened when they were coming together immediately after they did their initial prayer. The cabinet secretary, I was told, came forward and said, we need to borrow $400 million. I mean, the first day that you came in, you had to borrow $400 million. And I watched over a 2-year period. The then Minister of Finance and Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest was asking over and repeatedly for Bahamian people to come and bring their bills in because there's going to have to be a cutoff time. And the expression was, I heard it in a debate in the House Assembly, that every time they open up a drawer, they're seeing more bills. And my heart went out even then, and it seemingly so is happening now. What that does for our economy and so many Bahamian businesses that does business with their government, and in many instances don't have much of a recourse because of retaliation and victimization. They even go and get their own monies. Because here it is, the same government that will penalize you for being late on things and doing this and doing that. Justice don't seem to even apply to them when they withhold substantive sums of monies from companies, some of which may have even gone under, suffer great, tremendous loss, having great anxiety, waiting on their trusted government. When I say trusted government, every government is supposed to be trusted by the Bahamian people, of all people, failing to want to pay and pushing things down the road. We've seen the frustration. I've heard it. I've listened to the newscasts and hearing doctors and people in the pharmaceutical industry and other persons who would have rendered services to our government and then yet find it hard to maintain their businesses because their revenues aren't coming in nearly on time. Over and over and over again. But then we see where monies can be pumped into things that, in many instances, through the eyes of those who are suffering because they are suffering the injustice of not being paid. And that is an injustice. But your money could be splurged here and there on things that don't reap the benefit. How do we feel that when your elected government themselves turn to be the worst payer? And then we find out, and this has been happening for decades, that many persons, the POs of the government, the purchase orders that they send through, one time ago they had some sort of say, but many companies say they're not worth the paper they're written on. And so when we come to the point now, we begin to see again, that, wow, the accurate number is 97.6% unpaid invoice and arrears in our government. In light of that, how do we rate? I'm not talking necessarily politically, left, right, or center. I'm talking about the reality. The government is an entity that's supposed to be continuous. And if they are to the point, and all governments have done it, some have seemingly has been more magnanimous in doing it and do it in more grand style. But I've not heard numbers like this in such a long time. But I've seen it before in 2017 after the general election. What was left not only on the table but under the table and not budgeted for, the neglect of paying Bahamian businesses, any businesses, it doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer or a straw vendor, for services rendered. Are we back to that situation again? How does this reflect on our society? Does this say to us that our outgo exceeding our income and our upkeep is becoming our downfall? And then here it is now. We have arrears of $241 million dollars, and then we had what was I don't even know if I can actually call it a promissory note. Maybe I could, because it should have been. It's in the heads of agreement that and definitely promises made that we should have had easily an injection of about 120 million. Isn't it ironic? 120 million would have been exactly half of the arrears that we are facing right now. So we're talking about the things. What are we doing to our country? What are we doing to our country? And that 120 million is related to the Grand Lucaya and its sale. And we're seeing in the Guardian today where we're saying that the Prime Minister is saying that development of the Grand Lucaya is something that won't happen overnight. But I don't think it's an overnight thing when it's been happening so long right now. We saw when there was a conflict in terms of a news release from one news entity saying that the Grand Lucayan deal has disintegrated, and we saw releases from the government and from the investors saying that no, it's not. And in weeks, very recent weeks, you would see things begin to happen. And I'm not in a position to say it's true or not true, but I know this one thing. Why is it so hard? Even if there's delays happen. But one of the greatest assurity that there is truth in what you're saying, that this deal is on the table, would have simply been money in the bank. You said you got the money. But why is it so hard for the government to simply say, we have the money? Which is proof that the sale has been done. Why is that so hard? That would lay to rest so many things, and definitely $120 million injected into a deficit in unpaid invoices of $240 million will certainly go a long way in helping the Bahamian businesses and all those that are owing in arrear. We have not even reached to the nurses and the other persons who are owing. I'm going to say to you what I've said in the Senate. I've said openly, and I've said it then, and I say it now because I say it because it's the truth. I consider it criminal, abusive, and financial violence against the Bahamian people when our government continue to do the practices that they have been doing all this time. I'll give you land, and you saw recently that there has been a matter arising from the land that has been allotted for the construction of the new hotel, the new hospital. And there's a conflict, and yes, the government said that they responded and they retorted, saying that there's no dispute, that they are comfortable in their land research. I'm not totally debating that, though I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. But you see, a land is wealth. Land is wealth. But when we look at this, and I've raised this in the Senate many times over and over again, my great concern is that the use of eminent domain and the government taking Bahamian people's property legally, because they have a right to do that, but they have an obligation to pay. There's still so many Bahamians that have been disadvantaged by the very same government that they have elected over the years, who many families are going without and living beneath the standard that God has blessed them with. Why I say God has blessed them with? Because they own the land that the government may have taken for an airport or taken for something here or taken for a highway or a road. And yet to this day have not been paid. I wonder if there's any families out there who just want to say in the atmosphere that I'm one of them. We know what it is to have something taken from us, and to this day the government haven't been paid. So when we look at this $240 million in unpaid invoices and arrears, and we look at it, you ask yourself, does it include all the judgments? How many police officers have won their cases against the government? And how many other Bahamians have won their cases and their judgments against the government and have not yet received their payments? I remember raising this question in the Senate during about the time when the government did a special borrowing, if I'm correct, in my memory off the top of my head, I think it was $70 million, and they not borrowing, they reallocated money. And it was during the time of, the great settlements, the settlements for the guy who works at finance, the settlement for the guy who was high-ranking police officers, the settlement for the shingle guy. And I was like, oh, wow, you know, the timing just was a little suspicious for me that you can go all through this. And because I've been asking, have you been paying your people their money that you owe them with their money that they pay you? Isn't that interesting? Hey, I remember I've heard a politician say, I am giving you this little thing from the goodness of my heart. If it was from the goodness of your heart, it would have been from your bank account. The money that the government have comes from the people and the people's enterprise. And you having issues with paying the people their thing, which come from them in the first place, and they didn't come from you. You guys, I don't know if you're following what I'm saying, how concerning this is, and I've been at it over it because it grieves me. Where's the love for our people? Where is the love? Where is the love? When families have matriarchs and patriarchs died, and in many instances owing tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars by their government, and in some cases millions of dollars by their government, and yet they're living hand to mouth. Peter paying Paul and can't be paid by their own, not even a foreign government. But if they don't pay their real property tax, they're going to find themselves and their houses. And I'm talking real talk. I know we get a call on the line, but I just want to get this out again. Because when your outgo exceeds your income, then your upkeep is going to become a downfall. It's just a very serious, just the other day on the Charles, I think it was at the Charles Saunders Highway, there was a rally, and I see it, but I still commend the Prime Minister when he spoke openly. You guys remember it, and he told everyone, get these papers off your desk, meaning the application people have. Get them moving, get them off your desk, get these things going. Well, we knew it was political time coming, but nonetheless, I support it because as long as we get it, I'm happy. I don't care. I don't mind how we get it, I'm happy. People had requests for land, and this has been going on for decades, government after government, where things has been moving slowly. People have things on their desk and they're waiting for some people. People have processes going on, and it seems as if persons hold you up long enough just to get you frustrated enough for you to reach in your pocket and say, here, let me give you this little thing to move my thing a little forward. And the Prime Minister said, listen, you got to move these things off your desk. Yet today, the people who are in the Nassau Village, Pinewood area, those who suffered loss. Yes, they suffered loss. In their land dispute with the Arawak Homes, where it was ruled that the land was owned by Arawak Homes, and the government over multiple administration, both forms of administration, have been working to make them whole, and the work has been progressing, but yet still to this day, I'm hearing, because I inquire a lot on behalf of these people, that they can't even get their stuff going, get out of inland revenue. They say they're doing it in batches. I have a problem. I got it, right? But listen here, if you finish my thing, give me my thing, man. Don't hold it to do 20, 30 things. These are some people who would have had their land taken through court order back when they had paid off their houses. They paid off the land and had to find themselves paying over and over again and are waiting to be whole, don't have their land document. And yet I'm hearing from many of them as well, Inland Revenue already taxing them on the land and they ain't get their paper back yet. But yet our Prime Minister had made it clear to all to get these things moving off their desk. What's happening in our country when our outgo exceeds our income and our upkeep becomes our downfall, when we can get bullied to pay the man, but the man could duck us and in many instances bully us not to pay us. You're tuned into Guardian today, and when we come back on the other side of this break, we want to have a frank and honest talk as to the true state of our Commonwealth. Is the wealth really, really common? Are we going for a common, loftier goal? Will the world mark the manner of our bearing? What are we doing to ourselves? Do we need to catch ourselves before we wreck ourselves? I'm Ruben Ramming, and you're listening to Guardian Today. We'll be right back.
City of Miami Gardens presents JITG Music Fest. Janae Aiko, Ludacris, Ashanti, Nelly, Glorilla, LMA, Maya, Joe, D-Nice and Friends, featuring WV, Donnell Jones, Case, Sunshine Anderson and Kenny Burns, Isley Brothers, El DeBarge, Stephanie Mills, and so many more. March 7th and 8th, Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets and info at jazzinthegardens.com. Jazzinthegardens.com.
Girl, Junior just showed me Bella Boy in his phone.
What you mean? He take picture of that good-for-nothing boy?
Shh, you don't want Bella here. You say that. You know she always say that's my good child.
So what he doing in Junior phone?
Oh, he there because the police looking for him. He on their wanted list.
Wanted persons in your phone now?
Yes, child. And when police want to find anybody quick, after something happen, they can send pictures direct to your phone. Go to Google Play or App Store and search for Crack Crime Bahamas, then pick install and it will go straight to your phone.
There is also a section on missing persons.
Yes, girl. Everybody needs to get this app so police can tell us right away when these people go missing. Just like an alert system.
Yes, it has numbers for Crime Stoppers Bahamas, so you can call and nobody knows it's you. Call directly to Miami and give the information without giving your name or anything about you. I tried the other day, and when I hear Junior and his boys talking about where they hide those guns, I walk quick round the corner and call that number.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back to Guardian Today. Oh boy, we see we have a call on the line, 2 callers on the line actually, and we have some text messages. But let me just take a moment to just introduce a dynamic man, a dynamic brother, a person with a very unique calling, whom I appreciate and love very much. We have in the persons of Bishop Walter Hanschel. Man, thank you so much for joining us. Say hello to everybody as we go down here.
Thank you, Senator. So good to be in the building with you.
Yeah.
And I want to say how proud I am to be here. And I've been watching you, and you've been doing a great job representing the kingdom.
Exactly.
And first of all,
Yes,
first and
kingdom.
foremost, the kingdom. And
Right.
representing the people of the Bahamas.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yes.
We have to sometimes we have to forget about the politics and just deal with the issues and the truth. That's what I'm about.
Yes.
I'm not a political animal, but I will speak the truth, regardless of what who's affected. Truth is truth. You cannot compromise truth, and truth has no friends.
Yes.
Truth even don't have no family.
Yes. Yes.
And when you stand for truth, when you stand for righteousness, no matter what come up against you, God will take care of you.
Yes, truth is indefensible.
Truth will stand
Yes,
alone.
Yes, yes, yes.
We live in an age where every time you look on a social media platform, all you see is a bunch of lies.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you hear people talking and people that you trust, but they don't come clean. They always put a twist on it, always put a spin on what they're saying, and they don't come with the truth. Well, a half truth is a full lie.
It's a full lie.
And I stand for truth and righteousness. Wow. And I love my country. And whenever I see evil in any of its form, I will speak if I have the opportunity.
Let me qualify the show. Bishop Hancher is not just going to be my guest. He's going to be the co-host of the show. So, Bishop Hancher, you can help me with the text too. We're going to engage because we just want to speak truth. Truth may sometimes have a label and a name on it, but better ain't nothing personal. That's the fact of it. What's personal is we want the truth. We have 2 callers on the line. First, let's go. Caller, you're on. Caller, you're on to God in today.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I just want to start by saying the national problem that we have, it is based on a mindset. The reason why I said it is, if you have a group of siblings, right? Siblings, their parents died. They did not leave a will for the property. You will see that in many cases that you'll have 1 or 2 siblings think that all of the land, all of the money belong to them, and that the other sisters and brothers don't deserve anything. Or you might have a brother or a sister come out of state and think that they deserve. And so when you mention the land situation concerning the building of the homes, premier estates, my mind ran on something similar. Some people in life don't feel that you deserve something or anything, or that they feel that they deserve more than you. And it's this mindset that, you know, some can't have, some should have, and others should just tag along. And we need to stop that. We really need to be our brother's keepers, and we really need to say, hey, if this is what our mother or father wanted, or if this is what is best for this individual or for this group of people, let's just be fair. You ain't even got to say do right. You ain't even got to do good, but be fair. And if we decide that we can be fair with each other, you see a lot of things change. So that's just my opinion on it. Okay, gentlemen.
Boy, you're right about that. I'll add to this, you know. People say crooked politician. Well, crooked politician come from your crooked house. From your crooked bosom, from your crooked environment. There are cultural things that are in there. And you'll find that on both sides of the aisle, there are some very, very principled people in our leadership. And we got to learn to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative without throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You find some preachers that are a discredit to God. What, you're going to stop preaching because they're 1 or 2 bad? You're going to find that there are some leaders, the country need governance. So what you do, you take the responsibility and you find the person with the character and the temperament and the disposition, and I would like to say even brought-up-see, because a man would not drift far away from his propensity. You catch what I'm saying? So let me put it, you know, we say stop liking man. If a dude like dude, then when he get power, what he can do? He can encourage that.
Yeah.
If a man is a womanizer, when he get power, he's going to encourage that. If somebody is a thief, and you know what do you call him, Butterfinger, what do you call him, light finger, soft Butterfinger, and then you put him in power, then he's going to do that. If a person loves children and have a heart for children, you know what's going to end up happening? When he comes in power, he's going to start passing laws. Children. If somebody loves sports and you put them into power, guess what? He's going to have an affinity towards sport. If Walter Hanschel was made prime minister, social services will change. You catch what I'm saying? Because although you are responsible for overall governance, we all have something that moves us to a whole different level in what we do. So should we just also be looking at colors, or should we also be looking at character?
Well, let me say that I've made some observations in our country over the years, and I've noticed that the same thing keeps repeating itself. For example, I'm very active in the religious sector. I presently serve as the president of the Bahamas College of Bishops, and I also am involved in many church activities. What I've noticed that is really disheartening is that you have many of our pastors are very, very political. But in my view, some are politically dishonest. They have no principle. They are compromised because if your party is in power, and I have no problem with somebody having an affinity towards a party, somebody being, they have a party, that's a free will. That's an entitlement. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with you having a party, whether it's PLP or FNM or COI. I have no problem with that. My problem is when your party is in power, you have no voice. No matter what your party does, good, bad, no matter what they do, you have nothing to say. If you see oppression, you're silent. You see bad decisions, you're silent. If you see suffering, you're silent. If you see corruption, you're silent. Anything that your party does, and if it's wrong, and you close your mouth, you refuse to speak out, you are compromised, you're wicked. And that goes on both sides, because I've seen people where their party's in power, they're silent no matter what happens. And then when the other party comes into power, then they get their voice and they start speaking out. That's wrong. If you can't speak out when your party's in power, when your party gets out of power, close your mouth, because you don't deserve to be heard. Because some people, and not just the politicians, not just the preachers, other people of influence in our country, they're too political. And then all politics is doing is showing who we are. And also it's dividing good people, families. I've seen what's happening even right now. Politics is dividing good friendships, good relationships, families. And that shouldn't be. I should be able to disagree with your politics and we still be friends. We still be brothers. We still be colleagues. But not in this country. When you disagree with a certain politics, you suffer persecution, if I could use that word. You might be attacked. You don't get the same benefits as others, and that's wrong. I don't subscribe to that. I believe it's time now for each person to be a man of honesty, regardless of politics, be a man of integrity, and speak out. I will speak out. I don't care who's in power. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And I'll never cover it up. I'll never be silent. When I see wrong, I will speak out against it. And that's just me. And some people are not like that. But
of course,
I don't put my politics above my call, the call that God has placed on my life for righteousness, for justice.
But the thing about that goes even deeper. First of all, I believe, and I think you would believe too, that actually it is the divine calling of the children of God to have a state of dominion. There's no place in this kingdom that we should shirk away from. And actually, we have given away so much. That's why we get to the point that the church themselves many times have to plead, let's say, to the world more so than those who had the blessings of God to become the entrepreneurs. We give away so much of our authority. This nation was actually built, and a lot of things that we celebrate that politics that we've been taking credit for had started in the pulpits, when the pulpit had the level of influence.
Yeah.
The difference is, and this is why you will see at some occasions, you see some silence, and what appears to be silence, and some what appears to be noise, is because you make noise when you're not heard. But in the biblical time, the prophet had the ears of both Saul and David.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And back in those days, even though the PLP was in power for 25 years, the church really had that influence regardless. So much so that for them to get traction, they had to come to the church. Now they come to the church to give you a little something and to say, that's my boy, and the authority and influence have shifted. I've seen it. I've watched it over and over again. But we still have some strong. I'm going to give you names off air because I'm speaking, and I don't speak what I don't know, and I don't speak what I'm not prepared to stand by. I know of some pastors that are deeply political, some who even gotten to the point of recommending to their membership how they should vote. That ain't my concern, that ain't my business here nor there. But I know of the very same pastors, I'm literally thinking about two persons right now, who also has influenced and helped even at any given point in time, whoever was the opposition. In some of the greatest things that we've had, they use their influence. Because what happens sometimes is, this is the problem. There is a closed door from one, I want to hear you because you speak out against me before. Because I speak out against you before, don't mean the next time I come to you speaking against you, I could be coming to you telling me, God, tell me a blessing for you. You see what I'm saying? Because I said before, you blessing and curses.
Yeah.
And so you get defined and you get labeled because of your choice. But I'll give you an example. There is a pastor who is known and labeled as a particular partisan view. And I can understand why I get appreciated by culture development and everything else. But that same pastor, I remember during our greatest and darkest times in this country, held the hand of the other side's leader, and help him to develop and do some of the best things in this country from behind the scenes. But then there are those who are to the extreme of which you speak. But what I also want us to delve down into, and first of all, we want to encourage everybody, children of God, we need you to be the lawyers. We need the children of God to become the judges and the principals and the training. We need the children of God to become the next cabinet ministers and prime. And I mean really those who want to submit their hearts. We need you to be the ones who are running the insurance companies who try to swing people when they're ready for doing, you know what I'm saying? They want to pay you and then they could drag you out and try to break you and destroy you. We need the people of faith and of all kind to have dominion. We need Bahamians to have greater dominance within their sphere.
Yeah, but
take us to a break. Go ahead.
You know what I think the problem is? I think the problem is that many of us are compromised to the point where all we are looking for is something. We're looking for things. We're looking for favors from the politician, looking for land, for bus plates and licenses and titles and positions. This is all wrong.
But we all want something, sir. Even I want you to get more money to help feed the people.
No, but I don't mean that.
No. I'm saying for the people out there.
I'm talking about people that are looking for something for themselves, not for the people.
Well,
that's when it becomes evil.
We're going to pick this up on the other side of the break. I'm Reuben Ramling. You're listening to Guardian Today with Bishop Walter Hanchel, the indomitable, the Right Honorable Walter Hanchel. We'll be right back.
Try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Loss of family members is very isolating, and people who have experienced loss appreciate when others have shared their grief. If you can't be there in person, go to the Nassau Guardian's website online at thenassauguardian.com and visit our obituary link. The Nassau Guardian's interactive obituary link allows you to read the funeral announcement, express condolences, or place photos on the online guest book for 1 full year. Losing a loved one is painful, but that pain isn't the worst thing to happen. Friends, loved ones, colleagues, and neighbors who ignore the loss compound the pain. Should the bereaved family wish to place the obituary and photos on our obituary site, just contact the Guardian's funeral industry partners or the Nassau Guardian. Remember, there isn't one magic right thing to say to someone experiencing loss that will make the loss less painful or easier to bear. The Nassau Guardian's obituary link, available online at thenassauguardian.com. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back with Guardian today. You know, when we get Bishop Hanschel in the house, especially somebody who I respect so highly, I don't hold his mule for him. He holds his own mule. Truly he is an activist not only for God, but for social issues and across the board. Let's reset ourselves a tad bit, because remember we were saying again, when you outgo CG income, then your upkeep becomes a downfall. That's not me, I'm quoting somebody else. In that regard. And when we look at the trend that is going on in our country, we must be very, very concerned about how things are going. Because if we are not honest about our debt, and how our cash flow is, how our monies are being handled, and ensuring that it is placed in the places where it could obtain the maximum benefit for the Bahamian people without us recurring additional debt, we're going to find ourselves in a serious state. I think I saw in the headlines when the government saying that the government is bracing for the fallout for the war, and speaking about the possible fears of the prices of oil being impacted and everything else. And I look back at it and I say, smile. I say, okay, good, you're interested in hedging again, eh? Because all that's anticipated. Any of us could have seen from December that something is going to stir up in the Middle East. I mean, probably as early as September, that there would have been crises developing in the Middle East and troubles around the world. We would have seen from early on, with the incident with Venezuela. So do we sit there and wait for the rocket red flare, the bombs bursting in the air, before we begin to brace ourselves as an archipelago, as a country that imports virtually all of its consumer needs, definitely all our fuel? Do we sit there and we just ignore the tea leaves that is happening around the world, or do we hedge ourselves and prepare ourselves for these things so when they come up, we don't have to complain? But I said a couple of things because I know it's out there, that I do have these concerns. My heart still goes out for those persons who still have land, and still have land that has been taken, and still have judgments that have not been settled for them, things that are still out there. And when I look at all these matters in terms of the bills that's being paid, it causes me to reflect on so many persons that I know. You know what it is for a government to owe a small business $200,000, $300,000?
Yeah, I've heard about those type of situations. But with regards to the war that is just being started, and the oil shortage that is coming as a result of that war, I believe that one thing that we should have done as a people is that we should have prepared. We're not a prepared people. For example, that preparation should have started with the church. Because the things that are happening right now, for example, the wars, the famines, these are all in the Bible. But the problem is, today we focus on preaching a different gospel, just preaching prosperity. Nothing wrong with prosperity. God wants us all to prosper. But what about preparation for these things that are ahead of us? The wars and the famines and the pandemics and these type of things, and the cashless society, and the fact that we are very close to, we are on God's prophetic time clock. We are close to the end. We're living in the end times, but most people don't believe that. And just as the Bible says, it will be like the days of Noah, where men will be eating and drinking, and it will come unaware. When Christ comes, people will be shocked, will be surprised, even people in the church, because we don't study. We don't study the word. We don't teach the people. We don't teach end time. We don't teach eschatology. We just go to church, have a good time, and the people
so people feel that
people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
They do. And it sounds like me and you, for me to do a show on eschatology, and I like that across the board. But hold on, we get a caller. I got to get this caller. He's on the line. Hold on, caller, you on the line.
Yes, good day to you all.
Good day. Thank you.
You know, you spoke earlier about with government services, right? And I mean vendors, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and I would say that the government. Why does the government have so many vendors of service and product? The government, you understand what I'm saying? And the government employ all those professionals, and they could do a purchasing ministry. You know what I'm saying? And then this thing about, you see what's going on is, right? You remember Lyndon Penland, right? The things that Lyndon Penland did for us, foundations he set. Remember Lyndon Penland was in the same era as Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan. And he spent even before them and during them, right? Right? And you know that what they're known for, right? Mm-hmm. Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, they're the ones who bought this privatization of national assets, right? You realize Lyndon Penland never went behind them? Did he?
I'm listening.
Right? And that's our problem. We have, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Lyndon Penland, right? Might have had some issues. And remember
So you're saying that you agree with what you're saying, that Lyndon Penland never went along the line of privatization?
Never. In
Well,
other words, he made private things public, like hotels.
Guess what? Now you're exposing the problem you had in the first place. Show me one hotel that the government ever ran that was good and successful, and tell somebody else how to do it.
Lyndon Penland wasn't around when they saw that.
This is not about selling. We saw what was happening. We saw what was happening when the government was running Batelco. It's not about the sale of it. It was overcrowded. It was bloated. Because patrimony get to the point that you don't run it efficiently, and when you don't run it efficiently, it actually costs you more in the back end and costs your taxpayer pay more. You remember with BTC, you have buildings all around the place, all kind of things. For lack of a better term, Alive came in literally with a briefcase. It was able to do what BTC was able to do. Do you know that after the sale of BTC, to the best of my understanding and knowledge, the government collect the same, if not more, revenue now with less shares, less headache, and the machinery is running even more efficiently?
Yeah, I personally believe that deal that with BTC.
No, we're not going to talk about the deal itself. You notice I'm deliberately talking about the point of how government don't function in corporation well.
Yeah, but if you talk about BTC, you can't leave it.
No. I can, because see, that's the privilege. That's the privilege. That was the privilege of the host. The thing about it is this. Let me show you why. And I'm not going to get into that because our time can allow it. Okay. That's where discipline come in. The fact is, the people at BTC was to the point, man, it benefit them tremendously, You know, just get 100% of the insurance paid by everything else. Nobody else could compete against that. One thing with government, I believe we should have sort of fair play across the board based upon the standard. We saw it to the point even with BPL, with BEC, with government involvement. You know how we got to the point where BPL ended up in the red? BEC was never in the red, It was during the time when a particular political chairman took over it And for election, they change around the tariff just to say they're doing a break, disrupt the flow. And you could see the record exactly when BEC crashed into where it needed to be crashed. And then here it is right now, we're doing a situation whereas the government still have the debt, but the person's getting all the revenue. The fact is, whether it's internationally, say at the United States and everything else, government is not showing itself to be the most efficient way to run corporations and business. They don't do a good job. That's what I'm saying. Now, who you sell it to, how you sell it to, any problem, but they don't run a good job.
Boy, they were doing a good job at BTC before they sold it. I can tell you that.
No.
I think so.
Check the record. I know so. Check the record. Boy, check the record. Check the record. We're in for Guardian today, and I'm here. I'm Ruben Ramming, and this is
Bishop Hancho.
And we'll be right back. I love you, brother.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And you're back to Guardian today. I am Ruben Ramming, along with...
I'm Bishop Walter Hancho.
And we are discussing topical matters. You know, when I started up the show again, I said a question, and we're going to pick up this phone line before we get into it, that what happens in life when your outgo exceeds your income and your upkeep becomes a downfall? Because it seems as if we as a country, in terms of our monies and what we're doing now, especially governmentally, and the debt we have and the unpaid bills and unpaid invoices, and the state of the current environment is sending alarming signals to us. Now, we have a couple of text messages and we have persons on the phone. Let's go. Caller, you on the air.
Hi, good day. How you doing, Senator?
Hey, I'm good, man. Thanks for calling.
Excellent. Bishop, how are you, sir?
I'm excellent, thank you.
Excellent. Great. Always great to hear your voice on the radio, sir.
Hey.
Okay, who's this?
I appreciate
Anton.
Pardon me?
Anton, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. I always appreciate your balance and your honest and frank approach in every discussion that you hold, right? And so based on that, Senator.
Go ahead, sir.
Now, at the outset of your conversation, you referred to someone as Mr. Shingles. Mm-hmm. But you went on to say in your conversation that, you know, you were seeking to have an honest dialogue that's beyond politics. I don't think that was appropriate, sir.
Well, that's good. I
and
disagree.
Also, the reason why I say that, too, is because, if you recall, Senator, there was a Supreme Court case involving that individual.
Yes, sir.
Right? Where that individual was found not guilty, and where persons on the governing side...
One minute, Antoine. One minute. First of all, did anybody said guilt, innocent, or anything unjust?
No. I'm pointing out why...
No. Stop. I made reference to the point that there was monies brought out for settlement. Did I say it was wrong or not? Listen, and so what? It's a term.
Inappropriate.
No, it's not inappropriate. Who is Mr. Shingle? Say the name.
Who? You
say the name. All right then, so leave it. I made a reference that bugged you, but unless you want to associate a name with it, then put up or shut up, man, brother. Listen to me, this one though. Listen to me. The point that was being made and I raised this in the Senate, and I raised this openly because it's been my concern, and I've been stressing for some time, I've been sick and tired of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas being slow on paying its bills and paying even judgments to people. And then I was concerned, I said, because it was the timing, but I was still happy that it was being done, that there was some money brought up by a supplementary, not supplementary budget. They moved some monies around to pay out settlements. That was around the time when this was happening. I said this on my feet also in the Senate, that I was still concerned, what about the other people? You know how many people who are owed tens of thousands of dollars and probably even more by the government of the Bahamas. And then these are judgments. I made no thought against right or wrong. That's not even my concern. If you've been judged to pay what is owed. Because if it was on the flip side to an average citizen and they were judgment was against them, they would have been held in contempt. They would have been held in all of this. And the government of the Bahamas that runs the people should have the highest standard. And I don't care who government it is. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care who government it is. You get the money from the people. It ain't your money. And when you're judged to pay the people the money. It ain't your money anyway. Pay the people their money. The job of the government is to protect the citizenry of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and to create an environment conducive for their growth. How is it conducive for the growth of businesses when there's $240 million still not flowing through the economy because government is not paying the bill? That's all it is. And if you're getting mad at Shingle, brother, listen here, man, listen here. I ain't got no time for that. That's garbage, man. And if it bug you so much, then you qualify why Shingles bug you. And say who it is. I even ain't call no names. You understand? And I have no problem with calling names. I didn't call no names. I gave you the reference. I said a high-ranking police officer, and it's true. I said Mr. Shingles, and I said, what did I say? Official in what was that, finance, what I said? I deliberately didn't call no names, so what you getting put your things up in a bunch because psychologically you're seeing what I'm seeing, then good for you. But the fact is, special settlements was done, monies was transferred over to, at that time of those settlements, and it was used to pay those settlements, maybe not exclusively to pay those settlements. And my concern before those settlements issues, during those settlements issues, and after those settlement issues has always been in my life in Parliament, what happened to the other people who you take land from, who you owe things to? And that's wrong. You are the government of the Bahamas. And I don't care if you're PLPF and you are the government of the Bahamas, and the last thing you're supposed to be shafting is your people. We will jump up and down, run behind everybody in the world when we get blacklisted to fix a problem. We're collecting tax monies coming in, and you know of people who houses getting taken from them by the banks, and the government owe them tens of thousands of dollars. That's criminal. I've said this on my feet in the House and in the Senate. It is criminal. We could spend all kind of money on this and cars and traveling and doing every single thing. But we would not go ahead, and that mother who's losing, that person who's losing their houses, those families who can't even fix a house still renting because the government take family island property, take property to build roads, and don't pay the people the money they owe.
Yeah, I'm not aware of the specifics of the matter that you spoke to and that Anton referred to. I'm not aware of it.
Yeah.
The details of it, and but
political.
I do know for a fact that, as you mentioned, there are some people that are owed money that needs to be paid. I'm aware of that fact, and it's just the right thing to do. Especially with things going so well. So well, and $240 million in back bills. Business is collapsing. I'm a small businessman. You know what it is to have somebody holding a big check for you that you know is yours, and your mortgage getting in arrears. and you can't get it.
Huh? Right now, we have a credit agency in this country. You fall behind, you ruin your credit for 5 years. This ain't about the goodness of your heart when you paying somebody out of their money.
Yeah, you're right.
It's the public money. You are there to administrate it properly. And if the law says there's a judgment, pay these people. If you have a police officer, I don't care what it is, or somebody who will put on leave, and sometimes they be on leave for years, half pay, everything, then they win their case and still ain't getting paid.
Yeah, that's injustice.
And every government that do it, I'm sick of it. I've said it up. See, they don't listen to the House. They don't listen to the Senate. Brother, it's the same way I am in the bush. It's the same way I am in there. Because I don't give up the permanent for the temporary. Political titles and everything, temporary.
Mean nothing. That's right.
God put me in those positions to function at a certain level. Ain't nobody own me.
Oh, well, that's what it's all about. You a man of
Let me
God.
tell you what is sickening. I raised this and I said it again too. This kind of thing would disgust me with character. You are one of those who are the heroes of the pandemic and the food and the feeding program. You've been doing it a long time. The Red Cross and so many other people step up with a food program. The government of the Bahamas is on record coming out, and I'm paraphrasing, okay? Basically call everybody associated with is a problem. Saying how there's abuse and so on and so forth and everything else, right?
Yeah, but talking about that food program, let me just make a correction. Yes, I'm involved in serving the poor.
Right? You've been doing that beforehand.
Yeah, right.
That has been your life and your lifestyle. You notice what I said?
Exactly. But that food program that you were referring to during the pandemic, when we were out giving food to people who were locked down in their homes, out of that $54 million or $53 million that was issued for food, Great Commission Ministries did not get $1. Okay? Now that's shameful. That's shameful.
Remember you
that needs to be exposed.
You know what I was talking off the thing? First, let me get back to what I'm saying. I highlighted you because you have been feeding. You know what I said? Before, during, and down. Because you have been doing it. Remember when we discussed off the air? I was telling you another one of my frustrations. The subventions that governments put in the budget to help proven organizations. Proven. I know. I look at it. Budget debate. I say, and I've asked them, I say, why are you giving an organization who has a proven track record, what's 90,000? What's 60,000? What's 10,000?
There's a vast disparity. Right. And what really bothers me in this country more than anything else is the fact that we talk about caring for the poor. We talk about taking care of the people. But the resources that are put out to take care of the poor are nothing compared to what needs to come forth. The government of Bahamas, and I guess all the successive governments have made the same mistake. I've never seen any government in the last 35, 40 years that were really for the poor people in the Bahamas. None.
Let me show you where I'm going to, because I'm going back to my point, because I believe in context. First of all, again, and I've said this over and over again, aim for politics now. When we see persons in society doing a good job, you accentuate the positive, you eliminate the negative. I don't mind even if they say, here's this criteria. But you know what? If you're doing this better than me, meaning government, then you do this because you have the reach to do this. Now, the point I was making with the food program, they spoke about the persons who was in the food program, all right? And it was vicious and attack. It was to the point, in my interpretation, that they were criminal. I spoke about this when we had to pass the Red Cross bill recently. But yet, when the same Auditor General came out and vindicated the food program that the money was accounted for, the same mouth that went out talking bad about them didn't come in the same place on the record and say,
apologize.
Yeah. That's my problem.
Yeah.
That's you know what? It's on the record of the House of Assembly.
I agree.
Them saying and dragging these people towards the beliefs. And you know what people don't know what it takes for you to raise the funds to feed them people who always around your door and around the world. Is your reputation that brings more to help more. Am I wrong or am I correct?
You're correct. 600 people come to Great Commission for food every single day.
What if you
that
were
is not
corrupt?
an easy task.
What if you were corrupt? What if you didn't have integrity? What if you weren't accountable? Would you be able to even struggle to get what you get now to help those you're helping?
Well, that's when I said the feeding program. That's just one phase.
I know, but follow what I'm saying.
We have people that we provide shelter, put in a warm bed every day.
Man, I know the homes you've been to. I called you plenty times to take in mothers. You remember?
Yeah, and the fact is, people. It's as though there's no true concern for the poor, because there's such a disparity in the amount of money that is given to organizations to care for the poor. Every day, almost, social services send somebody to Great Commission Ministries for food or shelter, right?
Then why they don't say, listen here, you all do this better than us, all right? You all do this better than us. Here's our requirements. You put it in. You do what you got to do.
But they're not.
You know what?
But they're not.
You can't.
They're not serious. We can't even get a visit from the Minister of Social Services in 4 years. We haven't seen him one time. The Prime Minister came. We've not even seen the Minister of Social Services one time at Great Commission Ministries, and we represent social services.
Listen.
But they're not serious.
When you have a problem with apologizing, especially when you're proven wrong on the record, that's a serious thing. That's a serious, that's actually really a character flaw. And that bothered me to the hilt, because the point I was making again back with you is, the reason why your organization is able to do what it got to do is because a good name is better than riches, because a good name bring riches.
Amen.
People watch your track record and they say, you know what? Let me game this little thing because I see it goes where it needs to go. It does what it needs to do. So when you disparage NGOs on the record as the head of our nation, and you don't go back on the record, even after your Auditor General establishes that we check the books.
Yeah, I understand.
And it was good. So you do it because why? There will be another storm. There will be another situation. Because your next success is always based upon your last success. You can let me know if I'm wrong. When people see how good you've handled a situation, they say we can trust him with more situation. You have lived your life based on your reputation that God has given you and your calling. And it has caused men to want to give.
Senator Raming, what has kept Great Commission Ministries and organizations like Great Commission is the fact that we have compassionate individuals and some companies and some churches that see what we are doing. They understand what we're doing. They understand we're trying to uplift our brothers and sisters.
And they have respect.
They have compassion in their heart, and they decide to do something.
But they see accountability. See, listen to my point. If you was not accountable, who could give to you?
Well, we are accountable.
If people don't believe that you will do the mission and you will do it compassionately, who will give to you? So guess what? If I refuse to give Great Commission $1,000, you could survive. But if I damage Great Commission's name, that hit hard, but for the grace of God, you catch what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Your name and your reputation is what keeps you going. Too many NGOs, you give $100 and only $2 go towards the cause. You see what I'm saying? So people like that. So these are the spirit of the things that we're talking about here.
Well, I want to thank those donors that do help us, and support us.
Thank them.
Because without their help, we would have closed down a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because we don't get sufficient. I thank God for the help that we do get from the government, from social services.
Yeah.
They
do something. I know there's something.
Yeah.
I know there's something.
But
I tell you, I just feel it could be.
What they give us for a whole year can't even last us 2 months.
What you think?
That's how bad it is.
What do I think is just called? Why I just say something?
Yeah.
Why do you think I just say something? I'm not being disrespectful. I'm talking from a position of knowledge.
Yeah.
When I look and I see in these and these budgets and I break it down, I look and I say, we can't be serious.
It's shameful. It is shameful what the government is doing right now with Great Commission. I can speak about Great Commission. I don't know about other organizations.
I'm speaking in my over almost decade-long service in government, upper house and lower house. I've spoken about it. It sickens me across the board. Listen, we're not utilizing the manpower more efficiently, and we are allowing the bureaucracy of government to hinder the efficiency of delivering of service. We could save money and have greater efficiency and do more by pulling in those who have the expertise and also the competencies and the calling to do certain things. And this is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we competing with against these things? When we can say, listen here, all right, do this, and this is the report I need, and if not, I will send you to jail, and if it ain't right, fine, you don't mind, because you can live up to that standard, but we will give you what you need to feed who you need, to help who you need, to protect who you need. We will give you what you don't mind them putting standards that you need to meet.
Well, whatever standard there is, we have met it.
Yeah.
We have been faithful in our calling and our assignment. And I believe, and I know that we've gone beyond the call of duty with regards to taking care of the poor. But it's time now for the government to seriously look at resources and put some resources into the hands of the poor. You mean not only for us to feed them, and shelter them, I'm talking about opportunities for business, small business. I'm talking about education, empowerment. We need to lift the people up. We need to put programs into place that could really and truly help the people, not just during election time. And I believe we have to get to the point where we just willing to fight, even if we have to fight alone. Because I'm opposed to injustice. I'm opposed to oppression, and too many of our people in our country are suffering because of neglect, because of rejection. I'll tell you something what is happening right now. Right now, we have on our streets, if you drive the streets of Nassau, you will see, every day you'll see a new person who's on the street, dead, dirty, disheveled, living on the street. I'm not talking, we have two types of homeless persons. We got the homeless persons who hit hard times and got evicted and couldn't pay their rent and they found themselves homeless. But then we got another set of homeless persons who actually live on the streets, and they live like animals. And you know what's happening? They are being rejected and neglected by both the government and the church.
And family.
Shame on us.
Let me tell you what I
say.
Shame on us.
Let
me tell you what I say when I stand up for the poor in Parliament and in the Senate. I remind them, and by extension remind me, that the reason why the Bible said the poor will be with you always is because, yes, we know some persons in their disposition, they will not help themselves get out of the situation. But I tell them, I say, let me show you why that is so important. Because if it was not for the poor, it would be hard to identify the character of the nation. Because the character of the nation is shown in how they treat their poor, the widows, the orphans, the elderly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From the time I was trying to help this country develop a proper public transportation system, I wrote the motto, the vision, and the mission statement for it for myself out of my heart. God birthed it into my heart. And it was to create a community-centered public transportation system. So this public transportation system must be built around the community, not dictating. No, as the community grow, you evolve it to cover the community. A community-centered, disabled, and senior citizen-friendly public transportation. Why I didn't say young people? Because if the disabled and the senior citizens could ride a bus service comfortably, that cover Reuben Ramming. You look good and sexy, that cover you too. If Grammy could ride it and be safe and treat it well and not rush. And then the final thing, again, I create a community-centered, disabled and senior citizen-friendly public transportation system, Bahamian-owned, operated, a credit to our nation.
Why has that not happened? Why, after all these years, such a vision, we allowed that to be shelved?
Now, I have not stopped working. I did my personal capacity. Mm-hmm. If any administration, anybody come right now, we could have this turnaround in 24 months. You understand?
Yeah, but the government...
All the systems
The government
right here,
needs to assist in such a program
the government had
and support.
fought against it. Maybe another show we can get fought against it. See, first of all, they was making the excuse that, there's no way to get the people together to do a system. By the grace of God and the help of so many people, Lewis Major, many of those who would have died, Harrison and all of them, we did it. We showed them that, hey, we prepared to come together. Not only that, we were prepared to even gather funding for ourselves and do it. But they hinder, they block us, they try to throw all kind of laws against us, then turn around and talk about regret. But that's a different thing. Right now, our system don't have to be the way it is. But right now, the element is changing because like cancer is metastasizing. And so it's going to be a little bit more. Listen, it's easy. It's not easy. It is very much so doable.
Yeah,
in that same thing.
Keep fighting. Don't give up on your vision. Don't give up on your dream. Keep fighting. And God will put somebody in place to make it come to pass.
Well, hey, boy, listen here. Caller, don't hang up. You're tuned into Guardian today on 906, 96.9 FM. I'm here. I'm Ruben Raming. This is...
I'm Bishop Hanschel.
And we'll be right back.
Boy, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day, boy.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking about everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Boy, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell people to sign the papers. Then he send me to meet his boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junking.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody can know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you. And your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
City of Miami Gardens presents JITG Music Fest. Janae Aiko, Ludacris, Ashanti, Nelly, Glorilla, LMA, Maya, Joe, D Nice and Friends, featuring SWV, Donnell Jones, Case, Sunshine Anderson, and Kenny Burns, the Isley Brothers, El DeBarge, Stephanie Mills, and so many more. March 7th and 8th, Hard Rock Stadium. Tickets and info at jazzinthegardens.com. Jazzinthegardens.com.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And we're back. You're listening to Guardian today. I'm Ruben Raming, and in the studio is the deserved Right Honorable Walter Hanschel. And we talking things human. We talking real talk. We talking down to earth, because we're not condemning persons. We celebrate everyone who have and who has been blessed. We celebrate with you when you get your new car. We celebrate with you when you get your new house. We celebrate with you when you could feed your children, food on the table. We celebrate with you when there's at least something on the account that you could deal with an emergency. And we give God praise and we give God thanks.
That's right.
But just as we said, the poor we will have with us always. And I like what you said. It is so true, Bishop Hanschel. You see, poverty could be a state that has some longevity, and some of it could be temporary. Sometimes you may see somebody who might have had a good job but hit hard times, but still driving a BMW, but the car on E, because they're going through a hard time, And sometimes we take for granted the simplest things. Just recently, we had some of the most peculiar weather we've had in the Bahamas in a long time, and many of us had the ability to wrap up and grab that hot cup of cocoa and nestle up home and complain about the cold, but we have a place and we could watch our Netflix and everything else. But you have a perspective, because not only do people come to your door, you go to people's doors. You go into the highway, the byway, the hedges. I've known, because I've had to call you many occasions to help find mothers who had children needed some place to live. People don't know the scope of what you do. But I want you, if you can, to share from your minds and your vision, even in recent experience, of course, us to see what you see through your eyes. What has been happening in this country that so many people might have overlooked in terms of those who are suffering, the sick, the shut-in, the persons who are being neglected. Let's hear your view.
Well, I don't like what is happening in our inner cities, in the lower class neighborhoods. The fact is, our people are poor. We have too many poor people than we should have. Yes, the poor will always be with us, but I believe there's a way that we can minimize and lower the poverty level in our country. It is too high. We have a class of persons in the Bahamas, in particular New Providence, that are being neglected, rejected, and they're just like animals. A matter of fact, they live, as I said earlier, they live worse than animals because they live on the streets. They don't have a home. They're not the regular homeless persons. We get homeless persons who just become homeless because of their actions. They didn't have enough money to pay their rent. They got evicted. They may have foreclosed on their home, and they find themselves temporarily without a roof over their head. Well, those problems can be easily solved by through agencies like Great Commission, through the government facilities, and others and family, and others who might come to the rescue. But I want to let the Bahamas know that we have a class of persons that are out there that are human beings, but they're living worse than animals because they live not in a home, but they live in the open. They live in the bushes. They live in old buildings and derelict vehicles.
Tell it to us like a story.
There's so many.
You see so much. Tell it to us like a story.
Yeah.
You walking into a situation because you have been through a lot. So people need to feel you. Because see, this ain't no recitation you giving here.
No.
Life.
This real talk.
Tell them the story.
They see it every day. We see it every day. And the Bahamian people see it every day. Let me give an example.
Yes.
If you walk through the inner cities or drive through the inner cities, you will see young men who are disheveled, dirty. When I say dirty, raggedy, I mean they stink and dirty. They look bad. Everything, their clothes black. They haven't had a bath in maybe 2-3 years. They haven't had a change of clothing. And you see so many of these fellas popping up every single day. And it's a huge population now. But what I have observed, because I go and I talk to these fellas, what I've observed is that they are 100% Bahamians. You know, foreigners? All are raw-born Bahamians, suffering, living like animals. Nobody checking for them. And they have nowhere to live, so they live on the streets. This is real poverty now. Some have mental challenges. Others have in their right mind, but they just have no drive to better themselves, and they have other issues. Sometimes I wonder if somebody working obeah on our young men, the way some of them living, just out of it. So there's so many of them on the streets that it grieves my heart to see that nothing is being done to help these people. Now, what happened during that last cold spell when the temperature plummeted to 45 degrees and 50 degrees and 55 degrees about 3-4 weeks ago. We drove the streets of Nassau. We knew that the people would be suffering, so we got blankets and we gave out some blankets. We had no place to put them, no home to put them in.
Wow.
Because our shelters were full, and you can't put these people, mix them with just the ordinary people, because these people some of them have psychological problems. Yes. They're extremely dirty. So we need a facility to put them in, but there's no facilities. What the government should have done was open up some shelters somewhere. Open up at least one or two shelters for these people rather than have them out in the open in that very cold weather, 45 degrees, 55 degrees, and people are shivering with just regular clothes on, no blanket, no sheet, nothing. In that cold, when the rest of us were home in our beds, these street people were just suffering. I saw people shivering and just cold. Even people who are in their homes were calling us and saying, we are home. Yes, we have a home, but we don't have any blankets, and the windows are open, and the cold, this cold weather, this cold breeze is just coming through, and it's like they're living on the outside. Because that was some real serious cold. And we had to find those homes in the cold and give those people blankets and food and sweaters just to help them out. You know, people in homes and people also on the street. But I'm concerned, my major concern is for those persons that were on the streets and are still on the streets and getting no assistance from anybody. Not the church, not the government, not their families, not any civic organizations, nothing, no assistance at all. And they're living worse than the animals. And something has to be done about that. And I decided when I saw that, I saw a gentleman, when he was shivering so much and he was so dirty. Senator, I began to weep. I began to cry. I broke down. I said, how could we allow our men and women to live like this and do nothing about it? And it hurt me so much when I saw that. I decided that we're going to find a building and we're going to take those people in, clean them up, let them get a good bath, a hot meal, a warm bed, a roof over their head, and we're going to try to talk to some of them and try to ease that burden. But something has to be done. I told a friend of mine about how I feel about that. He said, Bishop, go and find a house, look for someplace. And I'm scanning the inner cities right now, looking for a building that we could get and fix it up and take these people and put them in that house. And he's told me, he said, the minute you find a building, he said, I will give you the first $5,000 to go towards fixing it up and getting people in there off the street. So that's one of our major projects right now. We want to get people off the street. And as I said, these people are Bahamians. They are not foreigners. They are our people, our sons, 100%. And even some young ladies out there on the street with nowhere to live. That's the hurtful part.
Boy, listen.
It's painful when we see what's out there.
Selling the family, selling the boy. Listen.
We get so many young ladies who are doing well, outside of the fact that they have no job, they have no money, but they have children. You know what they're doing? They're selling their bodies to get some money to feed their children.
That's the how. And I don't want to get too much into this thought, but quite frankly, this is what even our political seasons has become into, a time of prostitution. Because it gets to the point that right now you wonder even if votes come free. It's suka, gimme. And then what that does is cause us to end up having governments that where we always get the government we choose and not necessarily the government we deserve. Because we need to make a stance that, listen here, a T-shirt and $100 bill ain't gonna buy my vote. I'm gonna find the ones who got the compassion, who get the heart, who have the drive, who believe in me, who want to bring about accountability, because that's gonna bring the change. Because after you get that $100, they ain't owe you nothing no more, and you're gonna still be where you are. But when I look at these things, and it is so true, and I'm glad even with this administration and the passing of the mental health bill and stuff, I want to see how that is progressing in terms of, in reality, despite what we pass and so on and so forth, but the awareness of what's going on. But what I want to even say to you, because I listen carefully to words when people speak and everybody speak and so on and so forth, I'm going to say to you just like Elijah said to Elijah, brother, listen here. We ain't the only ones out here. And I thank God that there are still so many other entities that are out there that are trying to help. But guess what? The harvest is plenteous, but still the laborers are few. And I want to thank God, because coming to mind are some of these other churches and other entities that do their things on their level. I think one of the help definitely should be we need to get more resources into the field, but the field need to be identified. People with the competency, the ability, the accountability to be able to provide these services. Out of what you said causes me in my heart to think that through social services in conjunction with these NGOs, that we have national responses. And national response is not just the big things like hurricanes, but you see that cold snap, that was brutal, brother. Trust me, that cold was brutal for those couple of days. And whereas we could have a reactionary force, maybe even the Prime Minister's youth guard could be a part of that and helping with that and getting manpower on the ground and to help our young people to do compassionate services, which will help them as well. But then also we need to have some sort, it's hard to say directory because those people even ain't got no phone. They ain't looking on Facebook. They ain't looking on this. But nonetheless, regardless of what they don't have, we still need to get the message out of where these services could be reached or where these churches are could be, or these other organizations. But you know what's the greatest advertisement? Like Great Commission. They say, and I'm using this expression, they say, hog no way to rub the skin. If people know you give, it can get out. And they'll find you too. So we're not saying, not limiting the fact, just do it. Just give more, just do it. Let's prepare ourselves for these eventualities.
Yeah, but you need...
If you have a caller when you're done.
We need resources to give. If, let's look at Great Commission, for example. We have cars bumper to bumper passing Great Commission every day.
Yeah.
Right, even at this moment as I speak, people are just driving past.
Yeah.
But you know what's happening? People just drive past, look straight ahead, and wouldn't stop. They see people suffering. They know people are hurting. They wouldn't stop and say, let me give $50 or $100 to help feed these people, to help clothe these people, to help shelter these people. And they don't care.
The story of the Good Samaritan, eh?
On the other hand, maybe one out of every 50 would stop and they would say, here's something to help the poor.
The story of the Good Samaritan.
Exactly.
But I'm going to say this, and caller, we coming to you right now. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this to everybody out there, and actually this is how the government should also feel too. But this is where Christ said to persons, so I was hungry and you didn't feed me. I was
Matthew
sick
25,
and you didn't
that's right.
visit me. I was in prison, you didn't visit me. I was naked and you didn't clothe me. And I want to speak to our Christian nation, you must understand, especially when you do it from the right heart, that when you do it unto the least of these, you do it unto God. You do a service to God. I would say something else too. The Bible says, he that gives to the poor lends to God. I want you all to understand this, When you give to the poor, I mean you all who give to the poor and posting on social media. That's why if you look at me as an MP, you seldom see my giving, except where I have to give account to persons who help me with the giving. Because God's gift come without sorrow. I could tell you the times I took feminine products to women. Do you think I'm going to post that? Just to say, looking at, I did this. Your heart position in your giving is very, very important. Sometimes you don't want your reward right there, right then. You want to extend the love, and your reward is seeing the response on somebody's face. And then as a government, again, the poor in our society is an opportunity for all of us to show the character of the society.
Yes.
You understand? Mm-hmm. The poor in the society is the society's mirror and light to show their character,
right?
To show the stuff you're made of. You don't have to go and bathe the person on the street, but you could finance the showers that needs to be done or the volunteers who would do it. We need to have the right heart. I have to get this caller. They've been holding on too long. And caller, you're on. Caller, you're on. We might have lost our caller.
Hey,
go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
I like how you respect your callers, brother.
Yeah, and my apologies for the time.
Yeah,
Bishop is rolling deep, man.
Brother Hanchel.
Hey.
Hey, Papa, you're only one God, but we get different denomination and churches, I guess, with different beliefs. The main problem is hunger and poor, right? But we get all kind of people doing what you're doing. What it could take, or how difficult is it possible that these, I call them goodwill places like Great Commission and others who do different things, who
clothe people food, give people food, and put them in house. How could all of them? Is it any way? Is it possible that they could come together? Brother Hanchel, what about the hotels back in the days? I know people used to get from hotel when the hotel cooking the night or whatever, and they don't sell everything.
Hands for Hunger is doing that.
Yeah, I want. Hello?
Yeah, Hands for Hunger. Don't lose your thought. Hands
so
for
you
Hunger.
say they get that on lock in and for Brother Hanchel, that's what you're saying in a nutshell?
Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
No, but there's plenty hotels, though. They get all the hotels on lock?
Yeah, I'm trying to. First of all, I'm commending you for that idea. It's excellent.
Hands for Hunger, they get it
but
on lock.
I'm also telling you with surety that Hands for Hunger has been doing an excellent job.
Yes,
and
all
doing
of them
exactly.
Hey,
No.
Let me wrap up, man, because you know you quickly they cut me or do something. Time going.
Hey, I'm the host. I ain't cutting you. Me and you talking, right?
Okay.
Me and you talking. And
Yeah,
like
no,
you
I
just said, I respect my callers.
You cut me?
But I want you to appreciate the value of what you just said.
I know what I said, so I have something else, but I know I don't write it
go
down
ahead
right
then.
line.
Go ahead then. No problem.
Yeah, and you can cost me forget.
Okay, my apologies. Go ahead, sir.
I hope you mean that. Chief, what I was saying
I could take it back, though.
Huh?
I could take it back. You doubt
I
my
know,
sincerity?
That's why I say I hope you mean it.
Brother, don't question people's sincerity when
Okay,
they're
the
being nice
hotel,
to you,
since
man.
they get
Go
that
ahead.
unlocked, right? What about all the fishing things when the people poaching over here? Can the government give
The
that
government
to
have a
hands of the
policy
health
when
folks?
those things are captured, they come in and they're taken and donated to
Okay,
charity.
one last thing, Brother Hanchel.
Go
They
ahead.
talking about the clothes not being washed properly. Could the government do some incentive, like people like you, Great Commission maybe, buy the machine them, put them up there, let you all run it, that you all can make money to help the poor more and give the people, and that's a good idea, what you do with the sweat, with the blankets and the Christmas. I was telling Bodie, but man, come on, Bodie, man, you ain't been there for a long time. Keep up the good work, Brother Hanchel.
Yeah, that's a good idea what you mentioned with the washing and the clothes and assisting with that. But right now, the government even ain't taking care of the wards of the state. Without those who are incarcerated, who are under the full care of the government, they even ain't getting their clothes washed. You're seeing reports in our tabloids saying how they're going to court smelling like almost the people on the streets. And now they're finally moving to do these things. Apparently, they're going to get these different type things and saying they're going to outsource it. We have some texters who's expressing concerns about possibility of smuggling things in by having that stuff outsourced. I mean, it costs me to even think about how long they've been talking about the cafeteria and the kitchen, and then they outsource it to COB, and then they're saying they can get done. And finally, it's supposed to have been done. It didn't get done. Now in February, they're saying we got to buy something else. Listen.
So many things need to be addressed and fixed.
And it just means, put our pride aside. You don't know it all as a leader. When you find people who have the capability and the competency and the proven record to do things, let them do it, and then you help them achieve the end for you. We got to check ourselves so many times, because if the end result is helping the people goes beyond giving. It's about also empowerment. And I'm thinking about many, many ministries. Oh, thank you. I can stop right now. Many, many ministries, and I believe you do that as well, who also teach people. Because when you teach our young people about business and stuff, you empower them so they are less susceptible to falling into the traps and the bad decisions or even the circumstances that may put them in this bracket that we don't want them to fall in. Your thoughts, and I'm going to get this call.
Correct. Yes, we train young people. We have a lot of volunteers come to us from the schools, from the courts, and we invest into them and try to get them on the right track and get them to the point where they understand the value of reaching out and helping and lifting up others.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yes, you make me think about Bash and all those. Caller, you're on.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. Thanks for calling.
I want to congratulate two giants of men. Now, Mr. Ramming.
Yes, ma'am.
You talked about the transportation
Yes, ma'am.
for the elderly and the disabled.
Yes, ma'am.
And what you want, your dreams, what you wanted to do.
And yes, ma'am.
I can attest to that. And because guess what?
Yes, ma'am.
I worked with you then. We had our show off, our send off from, oh Lord, what's the name of the park on Space Street?
Oh,
I mean, I was young then.
Yes.
But guess what? I didn't think I was talking about myself. But now
you see.
I'm using a wheelchair.
Yes.
Or a walking cane.
Yes.
And the transportation and the rest of it still hasn't materialized.
Yes.
I don't know what has happened. But, sir, I want to say to both you and Brother Henschel not to despair. like you say, the poor will always be with us. And to you, Reverend Hanchel, you've done a magnificent job. I was having shivers go through my body when you talk about people on the streets, no shelter, in the cold and all that. But we mustn't give up. We have to keep on praying. And when God sees that it's enough, He is going to intervene. So I want to commend and congratulate both you young men. You're younger than me. And I'm hanging in there. So congratulations, and may God abundantly bless you both. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so kindly. She's very, very humbling.
Yes.
And I thank God for her spirit. She said something I want to chime in on for our young people. And to our young people, we've all been there. Bishop Hansel was young. He was in Pampas. He crawled. He grew, and he's also a man. And especially our young people, we must learn to play life forward. Let me give you an example. When you respect your elders and you respect your parents aren't always right, elders aren't always right. But when you respect them, you're not necessarily doing them a favor. You are doing them an honor, but you're doing yourself a favor. Reuben Ramming explained that why. Why? Because you see, that elder is before you and you're after them. But guess what? You have a younger brother or sister who is behind you. You have children who is behind you. So when your children see how you disrespect your parents in their old age, they get the cue and the programming that that's the right way to treat you when you reach down that road.
And they will.
You understand?
They will.
When I was in the House of Assembly, I've said this on my feet, and I've said it in the Senate on my feet. I said, I don't have to be the best man or the best politician to help anyone. I said, I could be the most wicked man and I could help people. I could say, what? I could fix the road if only for myself. Then that means everybody else could drive down the road safely. I could fix the hospital if only for my ma. Then your ma could go to the hospital safely. I can make the country safer if only for my children, selfishly, you know. But if it's safe for my children, then it should be safe for everybody. So there is no excuse whether you are the greatest of saint or the wickedest of devil for not doing what is right in your own country.
Yes.
You could build a house, the most palatial house in the middle of an environment surrounded by shanty town, and your value goes down. To help yourself, you help those around you.
Yep.
We should understand this as island nations. So if you want your family to be safe, then let's work together to stop crime at our neighbor's door so it don't reach to our door.
You reap whatever you sow.
You ain't even gotta like me. Protect my daughter when she's being harassed. And maybe somebody may be protecting my daughter when she is being harassed.
You got it.
Stop the thief at my neighbor's house, and then it will stop the thief from coming into our houses. Grieve with me when I'm lonely, and you may have somebody grieve with you when you're lonely. How hard is it to treat people the way we expect to be treated?
Yeah.
I expect a government to use the money wisely. I expect the government to be reactionary towards their people and visionary towards their people. I expect the government to know our country so well that we don't wait for hurricane season to start to prepare for our hurricanes. I expect the government to have a vision that said during the time of hurricanes, 85% of the homes are uninsured, and when they get damaged, it costs a lot of money on the public first. What if I give a tax incentive to help people pay for their house insurance? It may cost me a couple millions now, but when the disaster reaches, because they insure, it saves me hundreds of millions. How do we be proactive in this thing?
Yeah.
You know, we have a call on the line, and I want you to close out the show. Call you on.
Good afternoon, my brother Reuben.
Good afternoon.
And Brother Hanchel, good afternoon to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Just wanted to say, give out my heartfelt congratulations to Great Commission Ministries for the work that they have been doing. Yes, the accolades should continue to go upward and onward for the work that they have done. Yes. Sometimes, I thank God that, we as a people, some of us do not have the opportunity or are not afforded the opportunity to have to lean on services such as that, because God has blessed us tremendously. Yes. In His own right to have us live a more fruitful life. To have persons out on the street in the cold in a first world nation. And Brother Reuben, until we get to the point where we program our people, because all of this has been pre-programmed into our people.
As a man thinking so, see, brother, you so on point.
And we have to get that mindset changed. In order for a man to take care of himself, you teach him how to fish, not give him a fish. My whole philosophy is simply this. And I started saying it because I made it a mantra now to try and change the mindset of some of our people to understand that the crossroads where the Bahamas sits in the geographical position that God has placed us, we are not a third world country. The Bahamas is a first world country. But the leadership that we have had over the decades are third world thinkers. And until we get the mindsets of the people to change from stop being dependent upon the government, to give them the basic, but demand that the basic is given to the people, then this whole thing of us doing this on a daily basis will just simply go away.
Yes. Caller, we out of time. I'm sure you hear the music in here. I wanted to give a closing word to my guest, Bishop Walter Hanchel. Bishop Walter Hanchel, just take 5 seconds quickly.
Thank you.
And say what you want to say, my beloved.
Senator, everybody are not the same. We have a group of persons who are unemployable. Let's keep that in mind. Nobody would hire them because they have because of their work ethics, because of their skills. I wouldn't hire them. You wouldn't hire them, but they have to live. They have to eat. They're human beings. So it goes back to love.